So, first full season in charge at Kingsland Town Football Club, and there's been lots of changes, and here we sit in a new facility for you.
Yeah.
What thoughts behind that?
Well, it's something that we identified way before the end of last season, actually. We felt, if you're going to run as a full-time football operation, you need the facilities that comes with that. And here at the Hive, we've got great surface to train on that we know won't let us down in the bad weather as well as the good weather. We've got a grass facility just over the back. And also on top of that, we've got pool and gym facilities, which we just didn't have the use of last year. And with it being all in the one spot, it just feels a bit more like a home to the players and to the staff. Like you can see here, I'm sitting in a real sized room and not a rabbit hole. But we laugh about that, but it's just coming to work and knowing your environment is yours to be used how we want to use it. And I've got to say, the staff down here have been fantastic, and I'm sure the lads, whilst at times have not enjoyed all of the pre-season training, which is part of the course, they've really enjoyed the facility, and hopefully we can make it work to our advantage, really.
The new facility obviously is not located in Kings Lynn itself. Does that help with accessibility for the players who aren't based in Lynn? Is there a better dynamic?
I think there's pros and cons for different area. It depends where you live, obviously. But this is much closer to the main road networks. So from that point of view, when I'm talking to players in terms of recruitment, which started in January basically for the summer, one of the things I had to reaffirm to them was they wouldn't be travelling into Kings Lynn every day. There's nothing wrong with Kings Lynn, by the way. It's a beautiful part of the world. But we now treat that as our place of work for match days, and we turn up, we do our work, and we come away. And I think that's important, because I think if you know where you're training and you know where you're going to work as such, there is a different mindset. It can become a little mundane going into the ground, travelling a couple of miles to train back to the ground, then off home. Now it's when we go to the ground, we're going there to do our proper job of work.
You mentioned new players coming in. The fans are always keen to know about the new arrivals. The ones that have come in so far, what do you see them bringing to the club? What was behind your thinking when that was all taking place?
Well, I think the biggest part of recruitment, certainly after a season or so that the football club endured, was we got the retention right. And I think the guys that have re-signed for the club and that were here before I got here have been identified by myself and our staff as being the right kind of players and the right attitude and mentality that we feel not only can they do very well at this level, but if we manage to succeed in what our aims are, is that if we got back to where we want to be, they could, still play a part. So that was really my first main thinking when we were getting towards the end of the season and I realised what was happening. So the skipper, the goalkeeper, obviously AJ, Goldie, all these people, Zane Walker, Josh Barrett, these are lads who, whilst I've had a part to play in some of their careers prior, they were new lads to me when I came to Kings Lynn. So I'm really delighted that they've joined on and got on board. But I think the players that we've retained beyond their loan spells, like Josh Coulson and Cameron Hargreaves, that's a huge plus for us. And then you go at the brand new ones like Spencer Keller, Jordan Ponticelli, Ben Stevens. All these lads they bring different things to the party. There's no two players in there, although they're playing the same part of the pitch. There's no two that I would say are identical. They give me different choices. So that is something we really thought about and said that we're going to have a lot of different conundrums to solve this season, slightly different ones probably, but having the tools at my fingertips is something I'm really pleased to have done.
And general player fitness, how's that shaping up? And thinking about Callum McFadden and stuff like that, how's the fitness side of things generally?
Well, the vast majority of the group that have trained all the way through the pre-season are roughly where we want them to be. I mean, there's one or two missed a couple of days here and a couple of days there for private or public, or, personal reasons. But other than Kyle and Ken, everybody's played the vast majority of the games. Josh Barrett's a little bit further behind others, because he had a period in the middle, both himself and then his partner having a baby. But everything, as far as I'm concerned, is roughly where we want to be. And I always felt as a player, it takes a couple of 3, 4, 5 games to get yourself to that point where you feel you can get up out of bed near enough every morning and play 90 minutes of football. But we're close to that, and I think the way the pre-season went in terms of the opposition we played was really good. I was delighted with the way we approached the early games against your Ipswich Wanderers and your St Ives Town, but then to have them 3 bumper games in the middle where we knew we were likely not to have as much ball, but in fact we did go toe-to-toe well, and it was a real good practice for us. So to pick the baton up again against Lowestoft last week and show the distance between us and them, that was impressive, but it's nothing. You know, the business starts on Saturday, and all we'll be looking for is to get off to a positive start.
What are your hopes for the coming season, and what represents a successful season?
Well, I've said to the players from on day one of pre-season, I won't be judged by what people outside this 4 walls think, believe or hope. I will balance my view on how successful we are and what we think we can do from inside the building. So you'll never hear us talking or bragging when we win, and you'll never hear us moaning and crying when we lose. We will just move on to the next game, and ultimately we've got to have a more successful period for the football club. I think, you know, the famous quotation about you cannot reach your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. And we have certainly changed the direction in terms of the way the football team approach football matches. I think when I first got here, there was an air of inevitability about what might happen. Now I think we are taking the solutions to the games, and that's something I think is a real change in direction for the football club.
So what would you like to see from the club, and what can the club, the town, the local authorities, what would you like to see?
Well, I think, you know, just coming out of the summer that we're coming out of, with the ladies doing so well in the European Championships, and there's been a big sort of, you know, hoo-ha about fans going back to watch football, and that was the ladies because they were successful. I'm a big believer if teams win games, local support will grow, and I'm really hopeful that we can get off to a really good start. But ultimately, that will have whetted a lot of people's appetites. You know, football is football. It doesn't matter whether you're, you know, a boy, a girl, a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. It's a football match. People love football. So I'd like to think both ourselves, as the first team, as well as the ladies' teams, are well supported from the people of Kings Lynn, and that they come out and support the football club. It's their football club. We are in their town, and that's the badge on the shirt. We want to play for that badge.
New signings, can the fans expect anybody else to be coming into the squad in the next few weeks?
Well, you mentioned a couple that haven't played a part yet this pre-season, being Kyle McFadden and Ken Charles. I mean, there's 2 lads there who will be like new signings for this season because they haven't been involved. So I'm very mindful of not blocking the pathway for people who are already in the building. We've got young Tyler Knowles. We've had a couple of other youngsters from the academy train with us for most of the pre-season, and unless the people who are going to come in are going to be much better than them as cover for the people I see as starting at the moment, then there's no need, in my opinion. I don't want to block pathways for the people already at the club. That said, I'm always on the lookout. Me and the people who I trust and hire as recruitment people for the club, as well as my staff, we are trawling up and down countries and in and out of different leagues for things that may be slightly different and maybe give us an edge somewhere. So I'd never say never, but I don't see one imminently, as in before the game on Saturday.
But I understand there is a new contract that's being signed this week.
Yeah, I'm delighted to have come to an agreement with the chairman about a new deal. All it does is extends the contract that I'd already signed beyond this season, so it's till the summer is 24. With an option of the club extending that if they wanted to next summer. So at the end of the day, it's probably been done back to front, and a lot of people who sit in this seat would have preferred. But I just felt there was so much I wanted to get in place that it went away from me really about sitting down with the chairman. I met him a few times in the summer. We had good chats, and I always felt it would happen, but I didn't make it a priority. What I did say to him when I'd completed the vast majority of the recruitment was, now I've put my group together, we need to get my situation sorted out. And it didn't take very long, if I'm honest with you. It was a good conversation. He'll smile when he hears that. But listen, I'm committed. My staff are committed. In the bus I'm driving is all going one way. We want people to get on it and not try and hold it.
Was the player recruitment? There must be players that are saying, I'm happy to be here because of you.
Yeah, I think people don't realise and might not believe me when I say there's a lot of people who we either re-signed or we brought to the football club on a permanent basis, that one of the questions were, what about you? I'm hearing that you're leaving, or you haven't committed. And I had to say, what is the right thing to say is, listen, I'm the manager of the football club. You're signing for the football club. This is where the football club wants to go. Don't worry about me. But there are relationships built. That happens. And it's nice to have heard it, but it means nothing in the end, because once I disappoint them individuals as the season goes on, they'll probably not, won't give me the time of day. But it's something that's important, individual relationships within the group. They're very professional. I've got professional relationships with lads who have come in, this season, but only professional relationships. I don't know them outside of the club. So I'm really looking forward to getting to work. I mean, I didn't like pre-season as a player. I'm not a massive fan of it as a manager, but it's a necessity. And I think the process the staff have helped me with in terms of how we've got them to the level of fitness that we have, I've been delighted with, and we just can't wait to get going.
Lastly, looking ahead to Saturday.
Yeah, like I said, we're as well prepared as we can be. I don't take much into pre-season performances in terms of looking at the opposition, and I won't take too much into how they finish the season. What I will say is, we know where we go, we know what the venue is, we know what the stadium is and the pitch is, so we're prepared in that respect. We will have to go there and try and take the game to them, I believe, but I fully expect everybody's on the starting line on Saturday, and there'll be probably near enough half the amount of teams in our division thinking they're going to win the league come 5 o'clock, and half of them think they're getting relegated at 5 o'clock. What I can assure everybody is nothing will be decided on Saturday. The only thing we want to be when we get back on that bus is have had a positive performance and a positive result.